I would like to say that about 7.5 years ago, when I saw Tom Golisano walk through the door of this arena, I was one of the happiest guys in the world. And I can say that my elation is equal to that today, to know that the stewardship of this Buffalo Sabres team is in good hands for years and years and years to come. I guess it's because I've been around for a long time that I was asked to address the media today and to welcome you, and that's probably why they dusted me off. But I can also say that I believe this is ownership number 5, if we include Mr. Bettman. And, and speaking of Mr. Bettman, I would like to introduce him now, the Commissioner of the National Hockey League, Gary Bettman.
Thank you very much for that warm introduction. It's always great to be in Buffalo. You know that personally and from a league standpoint, this is always a place and this is always a team that we have believed in. The city of Buffalo has great sports fans, great hockey fans, and this franchise has had a long history with great fans, passionate about the game, passionate about hockey at all levels. And it's always been important to us to have a strong franchise, well-run and well-owned. And there have been various points in the history of this franchise where we've gotten it more right than wrong, but in other points we've had some difficult periods that we'd had to weather. I do remember the press conference in this atrium almost 8 years ago, and I too was greatly relieved to be out of the business of operating this club because we were mere caretakers to ensure that this franchise was going to have a bright future here and to be stable for the long term. And Tom Golisano stepped forward, and he and Larry Quinn deserve an enormous amount of credit for getting this franchise to where it is today, to reestablishing the roots and foundations of this great franchise. But today, we turn the page and we begin a new era with Terry Pegula. This franchise was not for sale. It's Terry's persistence that got Tom to agree to sell it. Terry is passionate about the game of hockey. He's invested in our game at a variety of levels, including at the collegiate level. He's somebody who believes very much in community and family. He was a longtime Sabres season ticket holder. He believes in Buffalo and in Western New York. He loves the game, and this is a dream come true for him. And it's also a dream come true for us at the league, because we know this franchise is in great hands, that the good work that has been done to date will only continue and be built upon, and I know he is probably as committed as anybody has ever been to bringing the Stanley Cup to Buffalo. So this is a great day for hockey in Buffalo. It's a great day for Sabres fans. It's a great day for the organization, and I know on a personal level this probably fulfills a lifetime dream. So it is my pleasure to introduce the new owner of the Buffalo Sabres, Terry Pegula.
Thanks, Gary, for giving my speech in advance. I want to thank Mr. Bettman, Bill Daly, and the league office for expediting this process. We had a time schedule that I didn't think we would meet, but they very graciously followed and worked with us and got things done. Thank you very much. I want to thank Tom Golisano, Larry Quinn, and Dan DePofi for rescuing my hockey team, the Buffalo Sabres. When I first met Tom, I remember he said to Larry after that first meeting, he said, "I think this guy might be the right guy to sell this team to." And I appreciate him saying that. Larry Quinn, he was my primary contact through this whole negotiation. And I can tell you that Larry, everything he said about the organization was accurate, and I consider Larry to be a friend. Dan DePolfi, Tom at first told me that Larry and Dan run the team, but when I got into deeper discussions with Larry, he said, "You know, Dan really runs this team." He said he runs the organization, and every time we needed something in due diligence, Dan was the guy we went to, and we appreciate your contribution, Dan. I want to introduce my family. I have my son, Michael. Just stand up real quick, Michael, I know. Michael lives in California. He played hockey in Olean and Orchard Park High School. I helped coach him. My daughter, Laura. Laura would make everyone in this room look like a Moscow Dynamo fan. She is probably the biggest Sabre fan in town, and you don't even know who she is. I've got my daughter, Jessie. She's my little tennis player. Kelly. Now, these two right here form the Tweety Bird twins. And I didn't know what do you call it? Twitter? Kim, I don't use computers, so Kim told me that these two were twittering, and I said, "We're not getting a bird, we already have a dog." She said, "That's something you do on the computer." I said, "What is it?" She said, "You talk to people." I said, "Oh boy." So we'll discuss that with them in the future. Then we got Matthew. I'm going to preface what I'm going to say about Matthew with Matthew changes his football team probably every week, so I don't want it to bother you that he's right now a Flyers fan. Probably by tonight he'll be a Sabres fan. And my wife, Kim. I met Kim in 1991 in Olean, New York, and we've had a great run together. And I might as well mention Cliff Benson, who Cliff was the genesis of this whole thing with me standing here. I learned that you don't say things in front of Cliff unless you mean it. I told him that I want to buy the Buffalo Sabres, which is probably the 1,374th person I've told that in my lifetime. And Cliff was the first one that didn't laugh at me. So we met Larry and Dan in Pittsburgh one day. I don't even remember when it was, but that's how it all started.